Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here as we embark on a truly fantastic voyage. Today, we're turning our focus inward, diving deep into the incredible science of human digestion. Specifically, we're going to track the journey of dietary protein as it travels all the way down the gastrointestinal tract and ultimately into your circulatory system. It's this beautifully complex process that takes the food right off your plate and transforms it into the literal building blocks of your body. So let's get started.
6. So what exactly does this number mean? Well, it represents the roughly 6 grams of protein you're going to find in a single standard egg. Whether you like your eggs hard-boiled, scrambled, fried, or whatever, that egg is a fantastic dietary source of protein. Throughout today's lecture, we're going to use this simple, everyday egg as our continuous, real-world example to perfectly illustrate the complex processes of digestion and absorption.
Okay, let's dive into this and outline our syllabus for today. We've got 4 main stops on our journey. 1, the mouth for mechanical breakdown. 2, the stomach for denaturation. 3, the small intestine for enzymatic action. And 4, the liver, which is our amino acid pool.
All right, stop number 1, the mouth and mechanical breakdown. Okay, so unless you're, chugging a raw egg like a classic movie boxer, digestion actually kicks off with chewing. Your teeth act as the very first line of digestive machinery here, physically mashing the egg into smaller, manageable bits. And simultaneously, your salivary glands are secreting saliva. This creates a slippery, partially mashed egg mixture that can safely travel right down the esophagus, completely setting the stage for the complex chemical breakdown that's about to come.
Moving right along to stop number 2, the stomach and denaturation.
Now, here is a critical vocabulary word for you: denaturation. You see, the stomach is a highly acidic environment, primarily because it releases gastric juices that contain hydrochloric acid. We are talking about a totally intense, very low pH level, somewhere between 1.5 and 3.5. This intense acidity physically alters the protein from our egg. It actually causes the food proteins to denature, which literally means unfolding their three-dimensional structure to reveal just the raw polypeptide chain.
To really picture this, I want you to imagine a completely jumbled, incredibly tangled ball of yarn. That tangled ball perfectly represents the complex, globular, 3D structure of an intact protein. Now, imagine taking the ends of that yarn and pulling it tight, smoothing the whole thing out into one long single strand. That is exactly what the stomach acid is doing to the proteins in our egg. It unspools them, making them totally accessible for the next step of digestion. But before we move on, I want to pose an interesting real-world question to you all. We know the stomach is highly acidic and then it unfolds proteins. So why must a protein-based medication, something like insulin, be injected directly into the body rather than just swallowed as a simple pill? Think about that harsh stomach environment we just talked about. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the answer, which all comes down to protein function. You see, the three-dimensional structure of a protein is absolutely essential to its function. Therefore, as the quote notes, denaturation in the stomach destroys protein function. If you were to swallow an insulin pill, the hydrochloric acid would immediately unfold and destroy the functional shape of that insulin protein way before it ever had a chance to regulate your blood sugar. It literally has to be injected to bypass that destructive stomach environment entirely. So once our egg proteins are denatured and unspooled into straight strands, a new player enters the field: pepsin. Pepsin is an enzyme that's actually activated by that very same hydrochloric acid. Honestly, think of pepsin as a pair of molecular scissors. Now that the yarn is pulled straight, pepsin comes in and starts snipping those long chains into shorter and shorter pieces called polypeptides. And here's a fun real-world fact for you. Because these complex globular proteins require so much time in mixing to chemically break down, eating a high-protein meal like eggs keeps food in your stomach way longer. That is precisely why protein keeps you feeling full and satiated for so much longer than carbohydrates do. All right, stop number 3, the small intestine and enzymatic action. Now, the majority of protein digestion actually occurs right here in the small intestine. The pancreas acts as our biochemical factory, secreting these heavy-hitting digestive juices straight into the intestine. The major pancreatic enzymes at work here are chymotrypsin, trypsin, and proteases. These are essentially an advanced team of molecular scissors, and they work together to further dismantle those shorter polypeptide chains we brought over from the stomach. Let's actually walk through these micro-level chemical reactions step by step. First, those heavy-duty pancreatic enzymes aggressively sever the chemical bonds of the polypeptides, breaking them down into these microscopic fragments called tripeptides and dipeptides.
Next, these tiny fragments enter the cells lining the small intestine, which are known as enterocytes. Inside these cells, they are broken down one final time into individual single amino acids. And finally, step 3, these single amino acids are passed across the border and absorbed directly into your bloodstream. Now, the crucial point here is that absorption relies on active transport systems that act kind of like specific doorways for different amino acids. And I want to provide a quick real-world warning here about this. Amino acids with structural similarities actually end up competing to use these exact same transport doorways. When you eat whole foods, like our egg, it's perfectly fine because the food naturally contains a balanced mix of amino acids. But if you take isolated high-dose amino acid supplements, you create a massive traffic jam. The high doses flood the system and can actually block the absorption of other vital amino acids you really need.
Which brings us to stop number 4, the liver and the amino acid pool. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer adaptability of human metabolism. The liver essentially looks at your body's current energy status to decide the ultimate fate of these amino acids. If your body has sufficient energy, these amino acids enter the amino acid pool to be used for protein synthesis, like building muscle, skin, or DNA. Or, if there's an excess, they're rearranged and stored as fat. However, if your body is energy deficient, say during an intense workout or fasting, the body dynamically shifts gears. It will rearrange those exact same amino acids into glucose for your brain or metabolize them directly for an immediate source of cellular energy, known as ATP. But there is a catch. Before an amino acid can be burned for energy or stored as fat, it has to be modified through a process called deamination. Deamination is simply the removal of the nitrogen component from the amino acid, and this happens in the liver and kidneys. When that nitrogen is removed, it initially forms ammonia, which is actually highly toxic to humans. Fortunately for us, your liver immediately transforms this toxic ammonia into a safe, water-soluble molecule called urea. That urea simply travels to your kidneys and is safely excreted in your urine. So we've successfully followed the egg all the way from the plate right down to the cellular level. And because your body needs to synthesize its very own unique proteins, over 90% of the protein you ingest is perfectly broken down into these basic amino acid monomers. Which brings me to a final, kind of provocative thought to leave you with today. If your digestive system is essentially this highly advanced recycling plant that strips every single protein, whether it's from an egg, a steak, or a lentil, down to the exact same basic individual amino acids, does the original food source matter as much as we think? I highly encourage you to ponder that take-home assignment. Thank you so much for joining me for this fantastic biological voyage today. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next Explainer.